Hey everybody, Jamie here, Enigmatic Pneumatics. I'm back from Baja. I'm settled in to a town to get a bunch of administrative things handled. And I got some video in Baja of some interviews I think you're really going to like. The one I'm about to show you is Greg and Jesse. Had a phenomenal time down there. I do want to, before we go over to Jesse and Greg, share with you the three takeaways that I got from my trip down there in the case that you might want to go to Baja or travel to a country that doesn't have English as their first language. The three takeaways I had is if I could do it all over again. I know this is my second trip there, and this trip was a little bit different. It was more of a go down there and have an introspective time of it, and not quite making social the highlight of it. But these are the three things that I took away. So the vehicle, Baja was really hard on this vehicle. The food situation and the language barrier. So let's start with the vehicle. It's 7 feet wide on the inside, and there are a lot of roads that have no shoulder. So the dirt is built up to the road, and I kind of liken it to driving on the edge of a razor. You've got 18 wheelers coming the other way, and my steering is loose, and I don't know if it's the steering or if it's my shocks, but this thing rocks. And so when you're in a narrow road environment, it's something that I just need to pay a lot of close attention to. I've got deep potholes. That was another thing. There's deep potholes there, and a lot of the road 1 and 5 is takes place right there on the coast. Breathtaking views, but full attention on the road kind of thing. And let's talk about the potholes. If you're going down there, basically they're north of Guerrero Negro, and we're talking some that could be as much as even a foot deep or 10 inches deep. And we can't drive around them all the time because sometimes there's a big truck coming the other way and there's somebody on a bicycle or a few people on bicycles on the side. And so you're just pinned right at the timing on a couple of those, were just right where there's nothing I could do but hit them at whatever speed I could reduce down to. And my front end took the brunt of it. I think the front end's okay. And I'm not sure that I wouldn't go back with this vehicle. I wouldn't rule it out, but it's just something to be cautious of. Also, there's a dirt road patch of about 22 miles, I'm going to guess, where Coco's Corner is. That's a little outpost restaurant where it's all rocks and washboard for that 22 miles. And I really should only be doing maybe between 5 and 10 miles an hour on that. And coming back, I went a little bit fast because I just wanted to get through it. But approaching that, knowing it's going to be rough, and just taking it easy, having a relaxed approach, maybe even stopping halfway through it, having lunch, get out and stretch, don't stress, would be a good approach to have, and your front end would thank you for it. The language barrier, basic Spanish. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but just ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Bien, good, muy bien, very good. Usted, you? Hola is basically just, you got to have hola, and buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Just those basic ones, having those down will get you a long way. Plus knowing the difference between flour and corn tortillas in Spanish. That question comes up a lot, and so having that down in Spanish, and I don't have it off the top of my head. Cerveza, baños, puedo pagarte, can I pay you? I think if just going down with that right there, you'd be doing okay. I'm not a good memorizer. If you are, more power to you. The more you know, obviously the better you're going to have, time you're going to have. I noticed that the locals wanted to reach out to me and make friends with me and bring me into their world. And by my having that language barrier, I felt like I was letting them down and missing an opportunity. And so I would emphasize that. And then finally, the food situation. Baja, I don't know if all of Mexico, but Baja for sure is set up for people that know how to cook. And I know how to cook the things I know how to cook, but I'm not a cook from scratch. And when I got down there, all my spices had been depleted and I didn't know it. I had very limited spices for the things that I usually use. So I found myself cooking things like a thigh with the leg still attached to it and the skin still on it and the bone still in it, but with no real spices. And I'm not used to that. I ate a lot of oranges. If I could go back and do it over again, I would head into a American grocery store and drop about $250 on all my comfort foods, the stuff that I like, and that could probably be stretched out over a couple of months' time. So that's just some tips for you. Like for instance, oatmeal. I already did, I came back and I'm kind of righting my wrongs. Nuts, dried fruits, and flavored oatmeal, those prepackaged ones. And you know, they do have a lot of sugar in them, but you're still eating oatmeal and you're still eating. So that would just be a couple of things for me personally. This is going to be individual to everyone else. But just, I'm running through some things that if you're going to go to Baja, this was my takeaway from it. Otherwise, the beaches were beautiful. The experience was amazing. There are a lot of tourists down there, most of which I think came, oddly enough, most of them came from Alaska, the Yukon, and Canada. But super nice. Everybody down there, whether they're locals or whether they're on vacation as snowbirds, super nice. And you'll see some of that. I was going to attach this as an intro on Greg and Jesse's video, but I can see that it's running long. So let's just make this a standalone video. And welcome back. I'm back to posting. I'm back in American Wi-Fi. That might be another one I could attach to it. I have the Verizon card, and the Verizon will sync up with Telcel, but they limited me on my streaming. And so it was just enough of a barrier. I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but it was just enough of a barrier for me to not go to restaurants and hook up with their Wi-Fi, for me to not really download as much. So that's all what's going on. I'm here now, back to my steady workouts, handling some administrative things, and soon enough I'll have an announcement of what's coming up for me next. I think it's going to be exciting. Always exciting things on the horizon. So I'm back, and I look forward to your comments. I always look forward to your comments. Thanks for all the support. See you guys later. One last thing I wanted to mention. I was thinking about this morning. I've got an affiliate account with Amazon, and there's a link down in my notes to that account. If you buy things from Amazon, which we all regularly do, and you go in and click that link, it'll just take you to Amazon like you normally would go, and all the prices are the same. And if you would even bookmark that link and use it as your go-to link to buy things, then Amazon will kick me down a little commission on that. And that just helps me cover costs. I've got steer tires coming up. They're about $350 each. You know, I'm not working on big margins out here, and so it'd really be appreciated. But I also want to emphasize that if you're buying stuff off of Amazon and you're not so wanting to use my link, find a friend and use their link if they've got one. You know, just, I would say use somebody's link every time you buy something, because somebody can benefit from that, and it's not going to cost you anymore. So my link is down there. If y'all use it, it helps me get down the road, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And Greg and Jesse are coming up soon. I'm going to go work on it right now. Really going to like them.